Yo, what's up YouTube? Bismath here. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to talk about how to negotiate your wholesale deals or how to offer the right way in your wholesale transaction. So when it comes time to talk about price, how does that go? And it can be very uncomfortable for a lot of newbies in this business. So in today's video, I'm going to break down different negotiation tactics that we can use in our wholesaling business. So be sure to like, subscribe, comment down below. And if you all have any questions about wholesaling in general or about negotiation or other things, just comment down below. And I usually respond to all my comments. So how do you negotiate your deals with your seller? So let's say you've been following up with a seller. You all talk more and more about the different situations. You know about their why they're leaving the house, because that's more important to your whole deal, because that why kind of gives you a way to offer your price. To start off with, know the why the seller is wanting to sell, and that will help you with your negotiation. The first thing I want you all to concentrate is knowing your numbers. So knowing your numbers essentially means knowing the market value of the property, and in that area, the property itself, based off of the square footage, the bedrooms and the baths in the property, and the condition of the property, how much, like a ballpark estimate of the repairs of the property. I know you will never get that exact. And also what the price of the, after repair value is after they all fixed up the property and everything like that. So that's important. So the ARV, the ARV, which is basically the market value, the repairs, and then eventually you'll have to get your offer in together. So those are the numbers I want you to have beforehand, before even like presenting an offer. The ARV, repair costs, your fee, and how much you want to get the property for. What's your range, or what's your specific price? Because it's good to come into a deal just knowing how much you want to spend on the property before, just going into a deal and just being random with it. All right, so knowing your numbers. So how do you know these numbers? Check this link up here of how to count properties. I break down ARV, I break down repair, I break down all things relating to your offer price and other things like that. So make sure you take a look at that, because that's very important in learning how to offer. So the second thing I want to talk about when negotiating your price is to always have the seller give their price first. So you probably heard this before. Whoever wins is the person who says their price last, or whoever loses says their price first. So you want to get a price out of them first. So let's say you're negotiating, you're following up with the seller and say, hey, we can do this, we can do that. I understand why you want to move out of the property. How much are you looking for the house as is? If we can just buy the property in 30 days and then move out, how much are you looking for the property? Keep on presenting those questions to your seller so you can get a number out of them. Other ways that you can ask that is, hey, let's say this property is all fixed up. How much do you see this property selling for? And that would kind of gauge you to where they're at. And then you could be like, okay, so before that, what do you, since this property needs this or that, or you need to leave in 10 days, what are you willing to sell this property for? Another thing to consider when you're talking about price and negotiation is that a lot of times the seller may not know exactly where their house is valued at. And so you always have to be honest and transparent. Like if they give you a ridiculous number, like a super low number, it just wouldn't feel right in my spirit just to jump on it. I know there are some deals where the properties are in really good condition, and I've told people, hey, list this property with a real estate agent. You'll get more offers. You'll probably get paid more, as opposed to me just making $5,000, $10,000 off of a deal. Just help that person out in that respect. But now we're talking about it is a deal. It's time to negotiate and present your offer to the seller. So first, we talked about knowing your numbers. Second, we talked about just having the seller say their number first. And another thing is, if they're not saying a number, you just gotta keep on presenting it and asking it in a different way. Another thing I like to do is ask if there's a mortgage on the property and how much. That's another way to get a number out of them. So you can say, hey, how much is the mortgage? Boom. And if they give you the mortgage, you can be like, okay, once this is paid off, how much more money do you want after this paid off? They may say 20,000 more. Let's say they owe 80,000 on the property. And they say, yeah, after I pay that off, I mean, I just want like 20 grand afterwards. So, and then you can say, okay, so you're looking for a price around 100 grand for your property. And then boom, you have a price just like that. And eventually there probably comes to a point that they just won't give you a number for whatever reason. That's when you have to offer them a price. And so that's going to come to our third way of negotiating price, of negotiating and presenting our offer to the seller, is when you actually have to name a price. So first, let's talk about presenting a price when they don't give you a price, and then later we'll talk about presenting a price when they do give you a price first. So if they don't give you a price first, you have to present an offer. You have to present a number. And what I notice with people is that people love options, all right? So there are two ways to do that. You can just present one number. Another thing is what I like to do is say, hey, we can offer this property anywhere between 80 and 90,000, 80 and 100 grand. Of course, they're going to get the highest price. So you have to make sure that highest price is kind of like your lowest offer to start with, right? So let's say you actually want the property for 120. You can give them a range of, hey, let's say we can get this property in anywhere between 90 and 110. Is that something you would consider? So just give them that option, give them that, open the plan, open it for them to give you a price right away. And so that's how I like to present that. And then let's say you do get a number from them first. Let's say they say, hey, we want 100,000 for your house, but you can't do it for 100,000. Let's say you're closer to 80,000. What you have to say is, hey, that just won't work for me and my partners. We're more at 70,000 for this property. Is that something you can do? Boom. And then you could be quiet and you can just let them talk. They can say this, and let's say they go down 10,000. Just go up like 2,000. Don't create the same amount they go down. You don't have to go the same amount up. Basically what I'm saying. Try to stick with your number, because that shows confidence. That shows your numbers, like I was saying, and that you're confident and credible in your lead in your business. So make sure you kind of stick with your number or around it. I don't like to negotiate and then go 20 grand up or 20 grand down. I like to stick around the price range. And another thing with negotiation, you have to stay confident. You have to stick with your number. There's been so many deals that, I got because I just stuck with my number. I was like, hey, I'm just following up with you, just seeing this, seeing that. I know you got a higher offer and this and that. And they tell me, hey, it didn't work out. Are you still at your number? I was like, yeah. And so they know that they always have me at this specific number that they can come back to. And so that's why I kind of like to stick around my number and offer them a fair price. Don't lowball them, but offer them a price where they can make money, my investor can make money, and then I can make some money. So that's another tip I want to give. Stick around your number. Yes, there's going to be some negotiations sometimes with some deals like, hey, 70,000 just won't work, and we agree upon 78,000, which is closer to like our $80,000 range or something like that. You can make that work. Always be warm and welcoming to hearing their counter offers. Never be like negative or mean or like anything like that. Like, to me, that just doesn't work for me personally. And I like to always be like, hey, you can always stand firm on your numbers, but still be open and warm to your sellers. And another thing I want to tip is, whenever they give you a price and it's a great price, always counter. Even if it's $2,000, $1,000 less, always counter. Because when you just grab a number, they feel like they're losing out on something. They feel like they went too low. And so you want to create that insurance with them, like, hey, yeah, that is a decent price for your property because it needs this, it needs that, and you need to move out. So make sure when you counter, let's say you really want it for 80,000 and they offer you 80,000 on the spot, be like, even though you're jumping in joy in your head, you can just stay calm, stay relaxed, say, hey, 80,000 was around where I was looking for. let's say if we can close in 30 days, can we do 75,000? And see what they say. A lot of times they will say yes if it's around the first number they offer. Because a lot of times they're probably used to people like completely going super low as opposed to staying around that price. Don't try to steal deals from people. I'm telling you all that straight up. It's not a good business practice. It's not something that I recommend people to do. Is like super lowball people, because especially in this day of age with the internet, and just don't take advantage of people because of, you know, their age or where they're from and different things like that. Give people a fair offer, of course, where you can make money. And, you know, there are deals where you can make a lot of money and it's a great deal for everyone, right? So don't, you know, I'm all about, you know, capitalizing on your deals and monetizing it as best as you can and as big as you can. But I never want to cut corners. I never want the other person feeling bad for selling me their house, you know? So make sure you're taking that into account and just always be confident. I know as new beginner wholesalers, you can be a little bit shy or timid when it starts talking about prices, but especially during prices, you all have to be confident, because if they can sense any like shyness or timidity when you're talking about price, they will eat that up, and they will stick with their prices, or they will go with someone else, or they will not work with you. So make sure you sound confident in your voice when you're speaking about your price. And when I'm saying confident, I'm not saying aggressive or anything. Like, you can talk like this and be confident, right? You don't have to be like, oh, 70,000. You'd be like, hey, we could do 70,000. That's what works for us. And if it doesn't, we understand. And always, you know, show that you're kind of leaving the deal. Like, okay, if you want to go here for that price, do it. You know, make the most money for you and your family. Because that shows confidence in yourself too, that you know what you're doing and you stick with your price, and that at the end of the day, you're really trying to help them. And if it's the best way is to refer them to someone else, then go ahead and do it. All right, you all. So I hope you all really enjoyed this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment down below, and I'll talk to you all later.